Thank you. Ready to go? Okay. Good morning. We'll call this meeting to order. It's the meeting of the Village of Ruidoso and the City of Ruidoso Downs on the Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant Joint Use Board. It's February the 16th, 2022. It's 10 a.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Chair Crawford.
Here.
Mayor Holman.
Here.
Joey Jarvis.
Here.
Councilor Jackson.
Here.
Councilor Cornelius.
Here.
Okay.
All right. Can I get a motion for the approval of today's agenda?
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please, Bertha.
Yes. Councilor Jackson.
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius.
Aye.
Chair Crawford.
Aye.
Mayor Holman.
Aye.
And Joey Jarvis.
Aye. All right, we'll move through, but first, these guys didn't get the memo, Mayor. Today was Black Hat Day, so.
Yeah, I did.
I know, but these guys, what's up?
Well-
Not paying attention to their emails.
All they got's white hats anyway.
That's true. They're just the good guys. It's all those.
Red ones.
The red ones? Okay. There's a few pink in there, I hear.
Oh,
But
yeah.
nothing wrong with pink. If you're big enough to wear it, wear it. Item number 1 is discussion and possible action on approval of minutes, January 19th, 2022, regular meeting.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Roll call, please, ma'am.
Councilor Jackson.
Aye.
Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Mayor Holman.
Aye.
Chair Crawford.
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item number 2, discussion and possible action on ratification of change order number 1 with Smith Co. Construction, Inc., requesting an extension of 7 calendar days to July the 11th, 2022, due to a private utility easement being identified during construction in the amount of $13,294.83.
And I think Adam is walking right in the door.
Adam's coming in.
You're up, my big boy.
Yeah.
Perfect timing, I guess, is what they'd say. If you're-
Grand entrance, there we go.
This is on the easement.
Okay. Chairman, members of the board, this is a ratification change order. It was already signed by the Village of Ruidoso, the mayor and the village manager, for $13,294.83, including an NMGRT. And this is for the Sleepy Hollow lift station. Smith Co. had to move the lift station 5 feet to keep an easement open for the landowners along the river there. And I think it was 7 days with that also.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? And this is, of course, this is just Ruidoso
Yes.
part of the JUB, so.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Why? Why didn't the engineers or surveyors or whatever pick that up?
There was no easement for that because it's in our right of way. The lift station was actually identified to be in our right of way. So there was no easement identified for us. We're asking for. So the plat was not pulled for the private easements for the homeowners. And basically, we're just being good stewards, giving them access to maintain their line. I mean, we could have left it in the same spot, but it's better for them to be able to maintain. With that, the manhole the new manhole that's sitting next to the lift station, those service lines will be tied into the new manhole because the old manhole is going to be bent.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, move to approve ratification of change order number 1 with Smith Co. Construction, Inc., requesting an extension of 7 calendar days to July 11, 2022, due to a private utility easement being identified during construction in the amount of $13,294.83, including gross receipts tax.
Second.
Okay, any final discussion? Questions? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Councilor Jackson.
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius.
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Mayor Holman,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Thank you, folks. Item number 4. Thank you, Adam. This one's Karen's. Discussion and possible action on third renewal agreement with Joshua Cannon and Associates, Inc. for waiver, valuations, relocation easements.
Mr. Chair, we're on number 3.
Oh, are we on number 3?
Number 3.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Item number 3 is Karen's. Discussion and possible action on third renewal agreement with Koppler Law Firm, PC, for professional legal services relating to the legal authority and process of federal acquisition of property easements for the sanitary sewer system repair rehab project.
Chairman and Mayor, members of the board, this is the third renewal for Koppler. This should take us through the end of the hazard mitigation easements that we're trying to obtain right now, wrapping those up, and any litigation that might lead into from any property owners that we're unable to get easements from. So this is just the third renewal for him to get him through this phase of the last phase, thankfully, of the project.
Okay? So the budgeted was 43,000+, and we've expended 16,800 so
Yes,
far.
this far.
Okay,
And I don't foresee that, but as soon as I say that, but we don't foresee that being an issue.
Okay, does anybody have any comments, questions? Okay, we'll have a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the third renewal agreement with Koppler Law Firm, PC, for professional legal services relating to the legal authority and process of federal acquisition of property easements for the sanitary sewer system repair rehabilitation project.
Second.
Okay, discussion? None? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Mayor Holman.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 4, discussion and possible action on third renewal agreement with Joshua Cannon and Associates, Inc. for waiver, valuations, relocations, easements.
This Chairman and members of the board. This also is the third renewal for Mr. Cannon's to perform the appraisals that go along with the easements that we're obtaining. He currently has completed all the appraisals needed, but in the event that we need any other future or addendums to what we have thus far, some property owners like to see a little bit more on their exhibits and stuff. So until we wrap up that whole process, we want to do another renewal to also get him through the end of this hazard mitigation phase of the project. What we had budgeted thus far for him in this, for this renewal is $24,300, in which he's expended about $8,900 thus far. And again, we don't foresee needing the complete amount as well.
Okay. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the third renewal agreement with Joshua Cannon and Associates, Inc. for appraisal and advisory services relating to waiver valuations and easement services for the sanitary sewer system repair rehabilitation project.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please, Bertha.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius, Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Mayor Holman,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 5 is discussion and possible action on contract for goods and services, RFP number 2022-006P with Mosin, Corbin and Associates for professional engineering for water resource projects. Mr. Boyda.
Chair Crawford, members of the board, I'm Eric Boyda, the Water Resource Director. So this is a contract with Mosin Corbin. The Village of Ruidoso had advertised a large engineering process with one of the lots dedicated to the wastewater treatment plant. So this is to enter in a contract for the future task orders for the NPDES permitting process and any other permitting needs for the plant, the fine screen replacement, a comprehensive inflow and infiltration study, and any potential spot repairs of the JUB line, and then also the repair and paving around the plant for the sludge beds and then also the roadways. So this is not a financial commitment. The task orders will be brought under.
One at a time.
Under this, so we'll approve each one, task order separately.
Okay, and when you say the fine screens, is that the headworks we're
Correct.
talking to? Okay, so it's a screen?
Yeah, so, it's what Isaac had been talking about. It's meant to get rid of all of the materials that are hurting the screens and the primary filters.
Okay, it is the bigger stuff. I was thinking of a grate, but it's a screen.
It's to get this stuff. We have a 1/4-inch bar screen,
Uh-huh,
and this is we currently have a 3 mm fine screen, which look like tiny holes that have been punched in a sheet,
uh-huh,
and that gets rid of anything that gets by that preliminary bar screen. And now we're gonna have one that's a 2 mm opening, so it'll get rid of that much more material that's clogging up the filters and causing us grief on our filter cleans.
okay,
Should give more life to your filters as well.
Yes, it will.
Isaac?
And that actually came from the distributor, well, the salesman that sells us our filters. Instead of us buying filters that year, he said that we should spend that money on the screening, that way we could prolong the life on our filters for the future.
How often do those have to be cleaned?
We clean them twice, which one, we clean them twice a year.
the screenings.
Well, the
The fine
screenings,
screens?
we do monthly maintenance on them. And
I'm
ours are getting
surprised
out,
you get that long.
what's that?
I'm surprised you get that long out
Well,
of it.
and what it is the water that cleans them is very clean from our effluent, so we don't have too many problems with it. Occasionally, the nozzles will get clogged up, but we do that on our maintenance schedule.
Okay.
And you can do that by shining a flashlight and seeing if you're having any kind of clogging issues.
All right, thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, let me get a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve contract for goods and services, RFP number 2022-0006P with Mosin, Corbin and Associates for professional engineering for water resource projects.
Second.
Okay, final discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Mayor Holman.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, folks. Item number 6 is discussion and possible action on task order RFP number 2022-006P-MCA-02 with Mosin, Corbin and Associates for National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, the NPDS permit, renewal and support in the amount not to exceed $66,882.50, including gross receipts tax.
Chair Crawford, members of the board, so this is our first task order under the contract that you guys had just approved. So the last iteration of the NPDES permit had quite a bit of back and forth with the EPA, which we're not anticipating in this current upcoming application. So $20,000 of this amount is for a time and materials only if we need it, if there is going to be a big back and forth with the EPA in negotiations. So the base amount excluding the GRT was $42,000 for the actual permit application and renewal.
Okay,
Do you have any indication that we're not going to get protested on this?
no.
I mean, we fought it state and with EPA last time.
You know, we'll have to see how it pans out. I'm hopeful that since, you know, all the issues were resolved in the last iteration, that this one will be a more simpler renewal, but I've thought about that for a lot of other things and have gotten it thrown in my face. So we'll just have to see how it pans out. That's why I think it's appropriate for us to make sure we have that time and materials so that we don't have to bring another action back to you guys.
They have enough time to get this done and get it approved by the state?
Yes, sir, and I got a hold of, Mayor and Councilors, I got a hold of Jerry Paz yesterday, and I'm collaborating with my administrative assistant, and we're gonna start sending him that data as soon as he's ready to do it. which could be as early as this week already.
So, yeah, so Jerry Paz, in anticipation for the approval of this, sent us a request for information. So Isaac's already getting all the information to them. But our application is due on the 28th, and we do have enough time to compile the packet.
28th of this month?
Correct.
That's just,
Get busy.
I told you it was gonna be right. Perfect amount of time.
and this is just the preliminary application. It's not for the whole data for the EPA and everything.
This just starts the process.
This will get
Yes.
us the TMDLs for the
Correct. Yeah.
state.
So they can start looking at our data and seeing that we've passed or failed or anything like that.
So once we give notice by the 28th, there'll be a 180-day period for for the permit to be written and discussed.
Any questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, Eric, are there, or Isaac, are there any, with these applications, and educate me, it seems to me that government regulations often change in the background, maybe not always known to others. Is there anything in there that you see as a red tag issue that might come up?
No, because we've done such a good, maybe that could be a red flag because we've done so good. Hopefully
Dig
they don't,
deeper?
hopefully they don't think that they can lower, tighten them
Tax you
down.
more, put more on you.
Yep.
Yeah, and
That's what we've always been concerned about is
Yeah.
you can meet this, so let's make it harder. So-
that's what I'm worried about.
And that's why we've been fighting the, cool water and all the other things to
Thank you.
try to stay ahead of it, okay? If there's any more questions, comments, we have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, to move to approve task order RFP 2022-006P MCA 02 National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System NPDES permit renewal and support in an amount not to exceed $66,882.50, including New Mexico gross receipts tax.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Mayor Holman,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, folks. Item number 7 is discussion and possible action on task order RFP number 2022-004P-MCA-02 with Mosin, Corbin and Associates for wastewater treatment plant master plan in the amount not to exceed $291,096, including gross receipts tax. Mr. Boyd, tell us more detail, please.
Chair Crawford, members of the board. So the wastewater treatment plant has, the new plant has never had a master planning document produced for it. And, although it's still new in our minds and our pocketbooks, it is starting to age and is going to need some substantial upgrades in the next 20 years. So this planning document will help us plan out our capital improvement plan for replacement of the major treatment systems over the next 20-year period. And we'll make sure that we have enough staff and our operations are appropriate for the plant. This will produce a capital improvement plan that can be used for both the entities of the JUB to adjust their
Budgeting.
their budgets and their revenue streams to appropriately capture the upcoming capital investments that's going to be needed at the plant.
Okay. And hopefully we'll be having to figure in a brand-new expo center.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions?
So for the budget of it, Isaac and I had just put in an estimate last year for $200,000. It's a little bit higher. We were just doing a wild guess at the amount. So what we're proposing is to again borrow from the fine screens budget for the $2 million, to borrow the $91,000 from there. And then next fiscal year, we'll restore that fine screen amount because we won't be ready to actually go to construction for the fine screens until next fiscal year.
And on a good note, we are working our hardest to make all these pieces of equipment last.
Okay. I'm sure you are. Okay. Any questions? Can you get a motion?
Mr. Chairman, move to approve task order RFP 2022-004P MCA 02 with Mosin, Corbin and Associates for wastewater treatment plan, master plan in an amount not to exceed $291,096, including gross receipts tax.
Second.
Final discussion, questions? Roll call, please, Bertha.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Joey Jarvis?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Joey Jarvis?
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius?
Aye.
Chair Crawford?
Aye.
Mayor Holman?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Boyda. All right, Isaac Garcia, what is the monthly report?
Chair Crawford and members of the council, the plant's been running pretty good. We did have a group of electricians come out yesterday and take care of numerous problems that we've been having, finally, because they're so hard to get a hold of and to come out. Sometimes it takes several months to come in, so they did take care of, I would say 90% of everything that I had scheduled
Well,
for
what
them.
were some of the problems? I wasn't aware.
Okay, so some of them were, when we're running all of our equipment, what we were experiencing was blackouts of the facility. The whole facility would shut down. And it took us months to figure out which two pieces of equipment they were, but it was two blowers. And I mean, this took shutting off one piece of equipment for the day and seeing if we had any of those outages. And if we didn't, the next day we would shut another piece of equipment down. But we narrowed it down to two pieces of equipment, and
Just too much amps or what?
it was
Amp
too
draws?
much communications. So it was an Ethernet communications type problem.
Huh.
So they're gonna come back, they're gonna try to come up with a plan to segregate our communications to where there can be two separate ones instead of everything together. Because there's hundreds of,
And this has been in operation for 20 years?
11 years.
11 years?
Yes, sir. And it just started, and that's why I was asking him, why didn't it happen in the past? But like he said, they can start to accumulate garbage and in their communications. So maybe those two was enough to throw it off and shut the whole plant down. So they did fix that. They fixed another communications issue with our valves not wanting to open or close. It was only one, but it was a major one. And they did fix that. They did calibrate all of our meters that correlates with Eric and the water rights report. So we did get all those calibrated for our
Report.
yes.
Did they give you any notice of if they were inaccurate? or-
No, everything was looking good.
Okay.
Less than the 10% that we're allowed of error. So we're doing
So
good.
what
there.
was the issue on the valve? Was it pneumatic or was it
It was a communications, it was actually a
just
wiring.
communication?
Yeah, communications issue, and, like I said, are we gonna be having these problems in the future? So that's why they're gonna come in a few months when they have a plan, and they're gonna propose it to me, and we're gonna segregate some of those communications, so it's not hundreds of them, it's only like 100 of them in each one. And they're gonna split them up instead of being all together.
Well, what electricians work was this?
This is Yukon and Associates out of Albuquerque.
So they're specialists in stuff like
They
this?
are.
So it sounds a lot like internet and software and electrical.
Yes, it
low
is.
voltage stuff, so.
And like I said, they did find the problem and they did remedy it, so, we're having to unplug one of our screens in one of our electrical buildings, but that's fine, as long as we don't have those outages, because each time we have those outages, the whole plant shuts down and then starts back up, and everything, it's hard on all the equipment, so by them figuring this out, I'm able to run all the ones that were shut down, which was two blowers, and, that way, I have 4 altogether so that they can alternate, and that'll just be more lifespan, kind of like how we were talking about the master plan. I'll be able to prolong the longevity of them.
Mayor Crawford.
Yes, sir.
Isaac, is this problems with some of the original, I'm just curious, original equipment that's finally starting to, after 20 years, give trouble?
It could possibly be, and that's what these gentlemen were saying, and that's why they're gonna come up with another plan to remedy some of those problems, and so that we won't have those problems in the future as well.
I was just reminiscing, I was on the city council many years ago when we were given the directive from the state, and Ron Curry, I believe is the guy's name, from the state of New Mexico, we had a city manager and at least one counselor I can remember, and they had decided they weren't going to vote to do that. And Mr. Curry simply said, "You don't understand. You're going to build it."
You don't have a choice.
Well, you had a choice, but it was $17,000 a day
Yeah.
fine. So I guess I don't know if you consider that a choice or not, but I'm just amazed that much time has gone by. And
It's flown by.
some of it, I guess, some of the original equipment then is held up pretty good. It's outdated and maybe not just used up, but outdated.
It's starting to get outdated, and the problems with that valve that wasn't communicating is because the original equipment is obsolete. So now they have
Yeah.
that are all computerized, and that's what we couldn't figure out to get it communicating. And it took this company coming in, because not even the manufacturer was able to guide us at wiring it upright and getting it going. So this company came in and solved that problem for us, as far as it communicating with the SCADA interface.
Well, thank you. I was curious.
Yes, sir.
And then your buddy, Mr. Curry, went to EPA in Dallas to
Yeah.
not be done with us.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was pretty assertive.
And on a good note, another good note, myself, Eric Boyda, Dave Denny, who's my chief plant operator, and Marty Luna got together about the ordinances on the grease program.
Right.
And that was a success. We know where we're gonna move from here and put in some different language to give more teeth.
And I saw that. I think that's all good. It's basic stuff we've been talking about.
Yep,
But the one thing is, we're going to have to decide on how punitive, I mean, what do we do?
that's gonna be a challenge.
Yeah, because that's one of the things. But I like the fact that we have to keep records on hand, all of those things. But I was just asking them, they were going to present that to the council about changing the ordinance on the fogs, fat oil and grease stuff that we have on the restaurants, and compliance issues. And I think most people are, but you're right, a lot of them, they take the baffles out, or when during cleaning, they get laid down and they don't put them back, so they're not operating properly,
Yes, sir.
and then cleaning them out properly. But the thing is, how do we, because I do know it gets pretty expensive, and being in the food business, there's not a lot of margin profitability-wise there. I do know several of them that scoop those out, put them in boxes and different crates, and put them in the solid waste, the dumpsters. And that's some of the comments I got from them is, why do we have to pay somebody if we're doing it? So how are they going to verify that?
Right.
So
It's gonna
I'm
be
asking
difficult.
it, it's not rhetorical, I was wanting to know if we've thought about that. If not, I'd like to.
So Chair Crawford, members of the board, so that's where, we were thinking that we'd work with John Underwood and Zach Cook on having a compliance form that we would have an entity fill out, basically a certification that they did stuff and complied with NMED and EPA regulations for disposal of grease, and certified that they cleaned it to what our proposed standards would be.
And it's just basically agreeing to take their word for it.
Honor system.
I mean, that's for us.
No, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just asking, that's what we're doing. And then, so we would need to intimate that extensively with that ownership management. And then if we catch them not doing it, because when the guys go down through Midtown and they're cleaning and whatever that time, they can tell where a lot of this grease is coming from.
Yeah.
So if we have issues like that, then we would have to take them off that honor system and put them on a verifiable. So I think we need to put some language in the ordinance, that we're going to trust our folks, if they want. And there's not too many of them, because it's not a fun job. It's not. I've done it. It's yucky. And so, but it's getting pretty expensive for just a little low profile underneath the sink type thing. Those are still $200. And if you're doing that every month, that's 10%. So, that's $2,000 in gross revenue that you have to make just to pay for that.
Right.
And so that's where I'm talking to those people, and because they watch all the, especially with food costs and everything going, but we need to make sure we understand, that they understand that this is how critical it is. Now, that takes me to, what are we gonna do with our brothers and sisters at the Mescaleros?
And they were a little bit higher. I mean,
Yep.
32.7 on the Apache Travel Center and 35.5 on the Inn of the Mountain Gods. We did talk to Marty about that, and we're gonna get with, who was it? Was it WX Septic or? And get on their schedule and pop in with them and just observe when they clean them out.
Yeah, I talked to, I forgot his name that owns that.
Jerry.
Jerry. And so I was telling that we were gonna see if we need to work better on that, and then if we don't, because we talk about this every month, we need to start doing some interaction. And I still have yet to get a call back from Eddie Martinez. Do you know Eddie? The new president up there?
No, I don't.
I don't either. No. But see if we can't get some communication going so that they're aware that we're having an issue. They may not even know. But then our counterparts are people that we deal with there. We need Adam. We talked about you getting in touch with that guy and see if we can get some lines of communication, whether it be with you and then you reporting back to this entity that we're having these conversations, because I just want to make sure that they are being communicated to, that they understand an issue that we're having and see if they can be part of the solution.
Yes, Mayor, and I
Mayor
actually,
Mayor Crawford, one of our counselors has real good rapport, I think. Counselor
Okay.
Walker interacts with them apparently fairly often and successfully. So let us know.
Okay? We can get a hold of Counselor Walker if you need to.
yes, I will talk to, actually, I got to call him on another issue. I will get with him on that one. I did actually reach out to Jackie Blaylock, from, the inn out there, and, he's supposed to give me a plan moving forward for them.
Okay.
So I'm waiting on that. I said I wanted it in writing. That way we have
Yeah,
it.
so we could talk about it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I appreciate it. I know it moves slow when we're talking government to government usually, and that's why I'd like to get with Eddie and get with us, and so that we have a better communication over issues that we can respond to them quickly, because you've been talking about this for years. And sometimes it's better, but sometimes it's not. But one thing, I know it's a spot in time sample that we're taking, but when we're doing it month after month after month, and it's the same thing, and then the odds are that it's real high.
Yes, sir.
So, okay. Yes, sir?
In the ordinance revisions you're working on, do we need to put some limits? If you get above whatever,
So, Chair Crawford, Councilor Cornelius, so right now, the agreement that we have with the tribe is basically that they're obligated to follow our ordinances. Unfortunately, our ordinance right now is limited at 100 milligrams per liter of fats, oils, and greases, which is 5 times higher than what Isaac is wanting.
Shooting for.
yeah,
So that was gonna be part of the ordinance update,
Okay.
is to reduce that concentration.
Can we put it in increments so we're not just like every other bureaucracy from the state? You know, they realize that they've misplanned all these years, so they back it all the way up. Can we put on, you know, right now it's 100, but maybe go to 50 or stuff that we can,
Yeah, we can do a phase.
phased in, it's automatic that we don't have to vote on it, so then in 3 to 4 years, we need to be, what, at 20?
Yes, sir.
So I would just like that approach if possible, unless it's just so detrimental to the plant that we have to stop. But I love it when the state gives us the demand, or the state water engineer tells us this and we don't even have time to plan, you know?
Well-
So if we can work with them.
could we put in there the 20 or whatever you want, and then work on a case-by-case basis where we can't just cut the end off?
And the
But
reason
we
why-
give them a schedule to meet our ordinance, but everybody else needs to be following it. I think most of them are.
They are. And the reason I came up with that 20 is because that's when I've noticed the least amount of foam at the facility. Anything above that, I noticed that there's just a lot more. And even like with these numbers that we got, I can, just by looking at the facility, I can tell that they're higher for that month. And they're at 35 and 32, so 20 would be a good number.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Eric, when you guys get this ordinances wrote up, excuse me, will you send me a copy once they get approved? We are actually right in the middle of like trying to redo our sewer ordinances because they're 1960 and outdated.
Yeah.
I'd like to include it because our fog is like one sentence. I'd like to.
And when we redo this, we were actually gonna propose to the city to
Do the same thing.
adopt this. So it'd be great if we could adopt the same ordinance so that when Isaac's staff is doing inspections,
Right.
he doesn't have to think about, okay, it's in.
Yeah, where's the line at?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'd like
Yeah.
to be consistent.
I agree 100%. Because we've been dealing with this for a long time, but I do know my personal experience that there's times that they missed us on a clean. They have a new guy, everybody's getting a new guy that doesn't know everything, and I've got 3 grease traps, and one of them's under the sink, and he missed it. And then next thing you know, it's full, and so my guys are in there shoveling it in 5-gallon buckets to get it cleaned, and we just need to be somehow that we're understanding and not be so flexible that we're still talking about this.
Okay,
Because I know you're tired of it, and I know we're tired of it.
yes, sir.
Spinning our wheels in some cases, but I appreciate the work you've done. It was pretty clear. It's what we've been talking about. But on our end, we need to figure out how if we get some, we've had some people here locally that just wouldn't recognize that they needed it and fought us, and they finally have complied, from baking bread, and then they didn't realize that it caused grease and things like that. So, and I know we've got candy shops, and I know we've got candle stores, and I know breweries that put off, they don't realize the oils. And so when we're passing those licenses and approving them, those are things that we're starting to make sure that they are aware of, and they have the way to get rid of their spoils that fit. So, okay, go ahead.
Any other questions? That's all I have for the month. Like I said, we're doing good. We passed our biomonitoring test, and I'm just curious to see what we get as far as our limits on our new permit. Hopefully they're meetable. Because like I said, every month is a little bit more of a fight to meet permit. We're meeting it, but it's just a little bit more difficult as the sewer gets rehabilitated.
So you're seeing that without the I&I, like the
Yes.
levels that we were at, that you're having more issues with breaking down the solids, and are the what's the word I'm trying to think of, the density, come on, help me,
To remove the nitrogen and phosphorus is where we're having problems.
problems.
The biological aspect, I'm having to add more
Concentration.
chemicals in it.
Okay.
So
And
you're
we,
using more aluminum?
yes, we are, and we are, using more of a carbon source, even though we do have
Right.
that strength coming in, it's also the cold as well, but, we are having a little bit more of a challenge, but we're meeting it.
Are you having any issues with supply on your polymers and different things like that?
No, we're doing, we're having to order it, more ahead of time, just because of delivery and supplies that they have on site.
Yeah, because I know any type of plastics, I'm having a hard time getting hold of anything.
Yeah, and materials and everything, even just to run the facility, we are having problems getting it, but we are getting it in.
Yes, sir.
I don't know where we're at on the UAA stuff, but you're not meeting our dissolved oxygen without it.
Right,
So
and that's,
that's a moving target, I know. I don't know if we'll ever get it worked out, but
and I don't know if we're gonna still,
Well, we're still proceeding on that.
yes,
Chair Crawford, members of the board, so Jim Good and I are just resolving some issues with NMED. We still think we'll be able to push forward with it, but before we present to you, we wanted to make sure we resolved all those complications with it.
Does that conversation include Nicole?
No.
Good, okay. She's the water master or whatever now.
Mayor Crawford,
Yes, sir.
you've already alluded to this, but I'm just amazed that the quality of the expertise of the employees at the treatment plant, both municipalities, in the first place, to even be able to identify. I imagine there'd be a lot of municipalities that wouldn't even know this kind of stuff is going on, but to identify and solve it. And we've got a tremendous person with Joe Jarvis, but I'm very impressed with the employees at the village and with the city that is able to run something that complicated, because we know that's probably the most complicated treatment plant in the state.
It really
And
is.
you guys are really fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, now, did you get a new Harley?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so we got him for a few more years, so the retirement plan just got backed up a little.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to always be thinking about succession and all
Yes.
these things, and so that's why with the employees out there, it's imperative that we keep them in training, going for level 4s and whatever. But yeah, I concur exactly with what the mayor just said, so we're very proud of what you guys do and compliments to the whole staff.
Thank you very much.
Okay, anything else? Anyone? Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You bet, thank you. All right, is there any reports from board members? No, sir. Nothing? Okay. And so I don't have anything either, but hopefully we'll be hearing something from our legislative session today. It closes today, but we're not holding our breath because they're still hiding the ball all the time. And then the governor's got till November 9th, is that right, Tim? Till November 9th to let it, March, what am I thinking, November? Yeah. Anyway, till March to either let her go or veto it. So we're excited, hopefully, that we get to see some of our projects on there. So if there's no further, any other conversation, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Then all the Republicans are coming on the 25th and 26th of this month. They're having their pre-primary